I am so excited to be partnering up with Gorillas again this season. The original sexy grocery delivery app is revolutionising online shopping. Fresh food delivered to your door in minutes, catering to all your food needs. Operating in 9 countries around the world, Gorillas supports small businesses as well as local producers to bring your favourite brands to your door. Run out of wine during the dinner party? Gorillas can sort that. Run out of eggs for your Sunday morning pancakes? Gorillas can also sort that. Don't believe me when I say how great they are? Then download their app and get £10 off your first order when you spend £20. Use the code SEXY10 at checkout and thank me later. Hello and welcome to the Crazy Sexy Food Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Harley-Young. This podcast is all about the love of food and how it plays a part in our lives. I sit down with well-known personalities, food experts, chefs, and people who just love their food to find out all about their life, career, and their favourite tastes along the way. Today I'm joined by 3 men who were ingrained into the soundtrack of my childhood. Sean, Scott, and Ritchie were a part of the original group of lads who made up 5. They stormed onto our airwaves in 1997, releasing hit after hit and selling over 20 million records. Considered as the bad boys of pop, they were the all singing, all dancing, all chiseled abs and cute faces that a 10-year-old me danced along to at the school disco. And yes, I did have their posters on my walls. They reformed in 2013 for the ITV series The Big Reunion, which generated huge excitement. And they're here today with even bigger news, the release of their first album in 20 years, aptly called Time. Sean, Scott, Ritchie, thank you so much for coming on Crazy Sexy Food.
And thank you for that amazing intro. Thank you very much.
I know, I've felt like I was welling up a bit.
Yeah, so did I.
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, then I've done my job. I mean, I have to say, guys, let's just get it out there. My 10-year-old self, honestly, is having an absolute heart attack because this is very exciting for me. And as a 34-year-old woman, honestly, I never thought I'd be in this position.
Very
good. So thank you for joining me.
No worries.
And how are we all?
We are very, very well, thanks. I mean, I speak for myself. I've actually just had COVID. But,
lovely. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was really, really pleasant. Thank you. But you know, I finally got the bug and I've got that out of the way now.
Yeah.
So, just raring to go for this year, really. You know, it's been a bit stop-starty for a couple of years, obviously, with a lot going on. I don't know if you noticed.
I heard about something.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing the people again and playing the tunes and, you know.
Absolutely. And I guess, you know, what I want to know is how does it feel to kind of like be back on like the trail of promo, launching a new album? You know, are you excited? Are you nervous?
It's a weird one, really. We are excited. That didn't start with excitement. It started with a few nerves, really. It's quite of a hard process to go through and go, right, do you know what? We haven't released music in 20 years. The diary's really full. You know, just before COVID, we were on tour. We're very, very busy. And we'd always said no to doing new music. And I think that's because there was a little bit of fear and trepidation there where it was like, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, this is going really well for us. They still love the old music. But the fans would, over the years, they'd always ask, are you going to do new music? And we kind of always said, I'll never say never, or maybe one day, but I don't think we truly believe that ourselves. Whereas now we're all together on the same page and we were like, do you know what? The timing's perfect. We can't go on stage because Boris has said there's a bug about. So let's do it, you know, and we're so glad we did. We're really proud of the album. We're really excited for people to hear the new music. The singles that they've already heard, they've seemed to really, really like. So yeah, it's really exciting time.
And obviously this is a food podcast, so we are going to mix and match music with food. So I always ask my guests at the beginning of our chat what you had for breakfast today. So let's start with you, Sean.
I haven't actually had anything today because at the weekend I was eating so much food.
Well, that was a great start.
I thought that maybe my metabolism needs a little break. and then, can sort of ease into the day. That's my new thing, just now and then. I don't know if that's good advice or bad advice.
Okay, well, that's a bit of like intermittent fasting.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah.
No, that's very good advice. They say that
Yeah,
intermittent fasting. What about you, Ritchie?
Well, I hate to tell you, but I'm actually in the same camp as Sean here. I haven't actually had anything. But what I can tell you, and this is the worst thing for this podcast, being a food podcast, but the past few weeks, when January hit, I decided to do this mad detox. So I've actually been having a lot of like protein shakes as meals and stuff. So my culinary sort of enjoyment this month has probably been at an all-time low. And I haven't had breakfast. But I'm on the food.
I mean, listen, I know, but we still love food. We're here for a reason.
Oh, I do. I love food.
I almost want to make up a lie. But I do fasting. So obviously over Christmas, obviously I was speaking to you just before. I made the best bit of beef, and I was really, really chuffed with it. But what I'm trying to do at the moment is just have one meal a day. So
oh, wow.
Before Christmas, I was in November time. I done a complete fast where I wasn't even having any tea or anything during the day. So I was literally eating. I was doing I weren't eating for 20 hours. Then I was doing a very small window. But I'm now drinking tea in the morning with milk, so I'm not completely fasting. But it works for me, So I look forward to my dinner when I get home. So my wife has prepped a beautiful dinner today, and Sean's going to be staying because we've got some more promo to do. We're having a nice beef stew. So yeah, and it's been in the slow cooker since 8:30 this morning.
Oh my God, that's going to be beautiful later on.
It is, yes.
So I want to take it back to your childhoods a bit. I want to know where you were born. What was life like growing up? What were you eating? Was food important? Who was cooking? Kind of paint the whole picture for me. So let's sort of give each person their sort of turn. So Ritchie, go for it.
Okay, so I grew up in the Midlands town of Bromsgrove. So, I suppose as far as culinary, it would be, the local dish would now be curry, which you do get some amazing, unbelievable curries around that area. But in my home, I actually grew up, part of my childhood, I grew up in a pub because my mum owned a pub. So she's very much, the pub was very popular for lunches, for office workers and stuff, because mum would cook proper classic sort of steak and kidney pies, things like that, shepherd's pie. And it was just like proper home cooked food. Not, a lot of times you go to pubs nowadays and it's kind of, you can tell it's like a chain pub. This was home cooked, just like mum used to make, literally. And it was rammed. It was so busy. And mum was very, very big on, just providing that kind of food, that kind of mum's home cooked food. It often involved gravy.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No.
Were you interested in food? Or was it just kind of you were given what your mum made and that was it?
My nickname as a child from my siblings and stuff like that was the human dustbin.
Oh, okay, fine.
So, yes, I was. My mum's actually, because even to this day now, when I get to my mum's, I walk in, I say hello, I go straight to the fridge and I open the fridge and I look in the fridge to see what's going on in there. And I've always done the same thing since I can remember. So, yes, I did have a big interest in food in that I just enjoyed eating. And then obviously, I do remember 16, 17, not liking olives, things like that, that I hadn't really tried. And then so my palate expanded in sort of, I suppose, in the band and stuff like that, where I would try what you would deem in those days weird things olives, those really outlandish, strange things called olives. And actually I did develop more of a thing that actually after the band, I was having a few internal struggles. So to sort of give me a focus, I actually started working at a gastropub on weekends because I really got into food. But I found that I was burning things or messing things up, and I was like, I really don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And then I went for some food at this pub, and I got chatting to the chef, and he said, why don't you just come in on the weekends for a bit, and I'll show you some stuff. So I did that for a good few months, and that really sort of accelerated my knowledge of cooking and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
When I was doing my research, I actually popped onto your Instagram profile, and in your bio, you say that you love pork crackling.
It's like my favourite thing in the whole world.
Do you know what?
I don't
it's
know
really
what
funny
it
we're
is.
talking today because last night I attempted my first ever roast pork with crackling, and I have to say the crackling was sublime.
You nailed it.
Nailed it. It was all like bubbling at the top, that
Yeah.
proper crispy, none of that tough, like rubbery,
Like
trying
chewy.
to like ripping
Yeah.
out a tooth in the process, like proper.
Yeah.
I was very
I
happy.
also have a confession to make, as it's a food podcast, is that I really struggle if I'm eating out and I go to a place that sells it. I look. Oh, what do I fancy? And if pork belly's on there, especially with the crackling, I'm like, I might as well just stop looking at the menu. I can't see past it. I just can't see past it.
I feel the same way. way. So, Sean, talk to me about your childhood and kind of, what was on the table growing up.
Well, I grew up in Leeds. It was in it because now we're in a sort of time where healthy eating's promoted, isn't it? Like fruit and vegetables, but in them days it was a different time. It was all like oven food and just like no nutrition and everything that you like as a kid, really. So yeah, that's the truth. Sorry, Mum.
And so, and like, what dishes would you say remind you of your childhood?
Curry. Curry.
Good.
It's just one of them things. I'm like, I know I said I didn't have breakfast this morning, but Rich will tell you I've got quite a relationship with food. I mean, there's basically, apart from Marmite and rocket salad, I pretty much like everything.
Rocket salad? That's so random.
I can't be doing with it.
What? Why don't you like Marmite?
It's amazing, Marmite's amazing.
Marmite's the best thing that ever happened to the world.
Even the smell of it just sort of sends me sideways. It turns my stomach. It's just one of them things. I don't know.
Yeah, I love Marmite with cheese and like then toasting the cheese. Oh, sublime. Anyway, so Scott, tell me.
So I grew up with a bit of a food phobia, really. So I've had a really weird sort of relationship with food for all my life. So my mum never ate any veg. So in a sort of non-good way, she didn't sort of force me to eat veg, which she should have. Like my dad ate veg, but I was never encouraged to eat it, so I never really ate it. And then I had a really bad experience with a tuna salad cream sandwich. No, as in that bad of an experience that it gave me this food phobia, which is now like documented everywhere. That so basically, I was scared of food. I'm still to this day scared of salad cream. As in, if you come and run at me now with salad cream, I'd run a mile.
What happened?
So I've always been fussy, right? So there's certain things that as a fussy person you shouldn't like. Tuna being one of them. But I liked tuna sandwiches. But the reason why the way I liked tuna sandwiches were drowned in vinegar, malt vinegar, right? So it's negating any of the tuna taste. It's just vinegar basically. But it was my favourite. So my nan, bless her heart, had made me a tuna sandwich, but my granddad had replaced one corner of my tuna sandwich with one of his, and his had salad cream in it. And when I say I puked, I mean I puked. I mean I was bad. And from that moment, I was like literally scared of all textures, all foods, and stuff like that. About 2-3 years ago, I went to be hypnotized, and I went to I had all this therapy done, and and it made me start trying foods for the very first time. And it's amazing now because, I mean, so I would have been, I think I was 39 at the time when I had this done. And it's completely changed my life because now there's still foods that I don't like. And the blockage there is the salad cream. So she said, you're never going to like that. You just don't, you've got a complete block on it, right? So I don't like anything like that. But after the 5th session, I ordered a curry. I'd never eaten curry in my life. I'd never had a Chinese. I wouldn't go near an onion. Like, I was scared of all foods.
We're talking when we used to travel around and tour back in the day, the only thing I ever saw Scott eat was either burger and chips, a pizza, a lasagna, or a spaghetti bolognese. He lived on and tomato soup.
Yeah,
tomato soup as well.
But even if you remember, Rich, even the first lasagna I had in my whole life was on tour, and that was because I'd spoken to the chef and I said to him, if it's riddled in onions, I can't eat it. Like, so it had to have no onions in it. Whereas now, like, I'll knock up a lasagna now. Like, my wife's brilliant, and she teaches me. She's taught me loads of like meals. So every now and again, I say to her, do you know what? I'll cook the lasagna tonight. I'll do the spaghetti bolognese. And I've always loved pizza, but I don't particularly like going and getting a takeaway pizza. I love like home cooking. Like, I'm really, really love cooking, and my son's taken up cookery at school, and I'm really proud of him. He's doing really well. But like, I bake bread like from scratch. I don't use a bread maker. I need it. I've got a starter dough going at the moment. So I've got all of these things that I love doing. I love making fresh pizza with fresh ingredients and doing it properly. Growing up, my mum used to make pizzas, is where I got it from. So I got that from my mum, and she always made an amazing mince, my mum. So, and she would put it in the slow cooker, and it would cook all day. So the whole house all day just smelt of this amazing mince that we were going to have. We used to mince and mash, and I still do that now. You know, and I've got Kerry's made we've got what we got? Steak. I can't remember what it's called now. A stew. We've got a stew on now. So the house just smells of this beautiful aroma. So my relationship with food now is so much better. I'm trying things. But yeah, I really struggled in, like, all that I would eat is tomato soup. On tour, I used to take tins of Heinz tomato soup with me because it's the only thing I was going to get to eat.
So, like, thinking back to this salad cream fiasco, because I'm trying to work out, like, is there any correlation
Stop
to
saying
the foods? SC,
yeah.
SC, right?
That's nasty cream.
Nasty cream.
Right.
Okay.
Do not call it nasty cream. It sounds wrong, and we're on the wrong podcast.
Well, I agree. And to be honest with you, when you even mentioned salad cream, I wasn't quite sure where the story was going to go, quite frankly. But what I want to know is, like, what's the correlation with the foods that you were either, like, scared of or didn't like? Because I was going to say, then did you not eat things like mayonnaise or cheese or butter? But it seems like...
Mayonnaise, right, is disgusting. It is, like, honestly... I don't know whether I can swear on this podcast, but if I can...
Of course you can.
Vile, right? Well, it's fucking disgusting, right? Because it's just like eggs. It's just like eggs.
Yeah.
It's like spreading eggs.
Well, that's what it is.
I know.
Yeah,
I know, but it's just disgusting. Honestly, I don't like eggs. I don't like...
I'll be honest with you, Scott. I kind of agree with you. I have a really weird relationship with mayonnaise as well. So disgusting. I kind of get that. But it's just so interesting that it kind of became like lots of random, like, you know, onion has nothing to do with that. But I'm just it's the textures. You know, it's like,
yeah, it's textures of food. So
that's what I'm saying. Is it more textures than taste?
Well, so it's a really weird thing now, right? So I will, if I'm making a lasagna, for example, I will chop, you know, in that lasagna, we've got onions, we've got celery, we've got a lot like courgettes, all finely chopped. If they're finely chopped and they're cooked all day, there's no problem. because the taste that you're getting from them ingredients is incredible. But if they were like chopped all big and put in there and not cooked for a substantial amount of time, I wouldn't be going near it because the texture would outweigh the taste. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Does the nutrition stay in it though if you cook it that long?
No, that's a very fair point.
Yes, it does.
I think it stays if you cook it lots. Take it out of the water. I think the nutrition's in the water.
Yeah.
If you're cooking it in a spaghetti bolognese, the nutrition's going into it.
Yeah. So if you're cooking it all day and draining it, of course you're losing, and you're chucking that water.
Yeah.
All the nutrition's in the sink. Yeah, you're right.
And also at the end of the day, if you're buying fresh vegetables and fruit, I mean, you know, and you're putting that in your body rather than, you know, a takeaway pizza, whatever, it's still you're making the right choices either way.
Yeah.
I find that quite fascinating. I'm actually really fascinated behind like the psychology of food and things, and amazing that you ended up going to have hypnotherapy on it. And you
because it got to the point where it wasn't enjoyable for anyone. Like you'd go out and I'd even see the boys roll their eyes, because they'll tell you that we'd go to this amazing event or whatever, and people were putting this amazing array of food out in front of us. And I would be turning my nose up at it, not because I was thinking I was arrogant. Like I just didn't like anything. So I'd go, is there a McDonald's around? And I'd get a plain burger and put chips in it. And they're all sitting there eating this amazing food. And I couldn't appreciate it. Me and my wife couldn't go out for a nice meal without me going to the waiter. Right, can I bring the ketchup out and no onions? And it just got to the point where it wasn't funny anymore. It was like a real problem. So now we can go out and I can look at a menu and go, like talk about like steak, for example. I loved steak as a kid, but it had to be like firm. Like I would say to the waiter, can I have a well done steak? Actually, cremate it. Right. So what's the point? You're paying like lots of money for basically essentially now a horrible bit of food. Now, you know, I've medium rare steak or even a rare steak, beautiful with like oozing. It's just, when I first tasted a steak like that, you know, done properly with, you know, butter and shallots and proper taste, and you're tasting it and it's melting in your mouth. That's how food should be.
What an amazing journey you've had. That is, I actually genuinely find that fascinating. So you guys, I read, applied. Was it all of you that you applied through an ad in The Stage who were looking for, I guess, a boy band? I mean, God, there's a lot of kids out there who won't know what The Stage is because they grew up in the world of internet and social media. But did you all want to be singers, performers? Was that always sort of ingrained in your childhood?
Yeah, I think, or I can speak for all of us on this, for as long as we can remember. I mean, my mum has got stories of me on holiday in Spain, and I'm 4 years old, and there's a outside restaurant full of people. I get up on a wall and just start singing to them. And like everyone's like, oh yeah, that's lovely. And I jump off the wall, walk along, and then I go, wait! And they're like, what? I've just remembered another one. I've got to go back and sing it to them. So, you know, it's just in you, and, you know, you just kind of do that. So yeah, I think that was always the dream, you know. It's like a seed within you. And, you know, we spoke about that as well because I'm big into the law of attraction as well. And it was something that I only realised I'd kind of utilised as a child without knowing what it was. And then the band had happened, and then after the band, The Secret came out and stuff like that. And I was like, hang on, that's kind of like what I did growing up and how the band came around and stuff. So yeah, very much so anyway. It's always there.
And also in my research, I still can't get over this. Apparently Russell Brand also auditioned.
He did. Yeah. He did.
I don't even know where to begin with that. I mean, it's just, could you imagine Russell Brand in Five?
Well, actually, a couple of years ago, he opened the Brits, didn't he? I remember he'd done a big thing, and he was singing on a big like bus. He's actually got a half decent voice. He's pretty good. So, he kind of admitted it once or twice, and he denies it now. But I mean, listen, I love Russell Brand, but he's definitely it's definitely done worse than being a member of boy band 5. That's for sure.
That yes, I think so too. And I mean, I know, Scott, you've just sort of mentioned a little bit about being on tour and like your relationship with food whilst you were sort of around and about. But I speak to a lot of artists, and I'm always quite fascinated by, you know, touring and food, and you know, you have these unbelievably crazy schedules. You know, was food important whilst you guys were out and about performing all around? Because, you know, especially with your stage performances, they're quite intense. You're dancing, you're singing, you know. Was diet important, or was it just very much we got to grab what we can?
It should have been.
Yeah.
To be fair, I remember the first ever photo shoot we did for one of the big papers, News of the World or the Sun or something, and I remember that they had, you know, they put the names, so it's the 5 of us stood there and they put the names, and like they were, you know, hunky or blah blah blah, and mine was beefy, and I was like, beefy, what? And I looked at it and I went, oh yeah, I have put on some weight, because all we ever did was eat McDonald's, you know, and fast food in the beginning, and then as time went on, we had to really put our foot down because we couldn't cook for ourselves because of our schedules and stuff like that. And we actually said, look, you know, we're getting really overweight. Even though we're using up so many calories, we're eating on the fly, chocolate, fast food, and we really had to say, look, we need to look after ourselves because we're just going to burn out.
Yeah, no, I agree. It got to a point where it was more important to the record label that we spent more time, you know, performing or doing interviews and stuff than it was to eat, and it would be grabbing on the go. And yeah, it wasn't great, because obviously you wasn't getting what you needed, what your body needed. I certainly wasn't, because I was just eating crap all the time. But there wasn't even any time in the schedule that was like a lunch break. It's just unheard of.
It's actually a little bit like what Sean was saying about his childhood. Like, the times have changed so much. You know, back when you guys were sort of like on that crazy schedule, we weren't talking about things like organic food and intermittent fasting and all that sort of stuff. Whereas I'm sure like nowadays, a lot of these, you know, young kids who are kind of coming into the industry, you know, I think there's a lot more focus on mental health, physical well-being, you know, and rightly so, because it does end up in burnout, especially if you're on stage for 2 hours or whatever, performing at that kind of intensity.
Not even that. I think the maybe some of the, because like mental health we spoke about now and that, and I think that we obviously struggled with that back in the day as kids, being overwhelmed with everything. But maybe if they'd have had like a nutritionist, somebody sort of looking after our diet, it probably would have, because food and sleep really is fundamental to your emotions, isn't it, and how your body's feeling, and it probably would have helped, because everywhere we went, it was just like getting a hotel, club sandwich for your lunch, then a cheeseburger at night, and then 10 pints of lager. I don't think the nutritionist would have stopped the lager, but you know, a bit of nice food in between.
Do you know what's ridiculous, right? So you're talking about, you know, like if there was a nutritionist. Now, I don't think at that age I would have listened. I genuinely, even if it was on tap, I don't think I would have, because whilst Sean was just saying that, I was reminding myself of something which is absolutely mental, and it's well worth a mention. So on tour, you're obviously very busy. You've got someone doing your hair, someone doing your makeup. You've got someone doing your wardrobe, and you've got but you'd have quick changes on tour. So a lot of our outfits would have like Velcro at the back. So literally, you'd pull the outfit off, and someone would literally be dressing you while you stood there. Someone sorting out your microphone, and like, I had someone putting on my shoes. Like, literally, you done nothing for yourself. But this isn't made up. I genuinely had a guy that used to get me a can of beer and shotgun it for me and hold it to my face whilst just before. and this was, and that's true, Rich, right?
No. But the thing was, right, this is the quick change in between. So we've done a little 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and then all of a sudden we go out the back, and we've got 30 seconds to get that off, get the next one on. And Scott's more bothered about shotgunning a can of lager than he is about getting the outfit on.
But Honestly, I've got someone putting me shoes on, someone buttoning up my top, and I'm going, right, Gary, go, right, and literally he would pierce it and he'd hold it to my face.
Oh my God, I actually can picture it right now.
Every quick change.
Yeah. You were like doing a quick. I was about to say he was like doing an inhaler quickly.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing.
I mean, it's fascinating actually. I mean that's part of it is obviously what I picked up, but also I've always wondered how artists change so quickly. So it's all the bloody Velcro at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally strip off and you go into
2 to 3 people per person, like with the stuff whipping it off. And,
Fascinating. I mean, again, sort of Sean mentioned something as well. You know, obviously you guys apply for this band, you know, you go through your stages and let's fast forward. You've kind of broken out into the industry. You know, you're suddenly thrown into this crazy world of showbiz and fame. You know, how does that feel? You know, having come from such a, you know, private life, you know, you guys don't come from famous families, you haven't grown up with it. You know, what is that like at that age?
When you're, if you were thrown into it at any age, you're not ready for it.
No.
But when you're thrown into it at 15 or 17, it is a really eye-opening experience. And it's not something we were particularly prepped for or anything like that. And I've got to say, like, now you ask it and I put my mind back there, it was extremely lonely because so many people and things are coming at you all the time and you don't know who to trust all the time. And you're just a kid that kind of, you know, that was a real sort of like, you know, give me, like, I need to just take a few deep breaths and sort of, you know, before I go back out in the room kind of thing, you know?
Well, this is the thing. There is no like rule book, is there, of like teaching someone how to suddenly deal with, you know, I don't know, fans or just being in the public eye and having every facet of you be documented.
Well, you can't.
It's just,
it's very hard to process. And as Rich said, you're so young, and you're so busy as well. And everything's 100 miles an hour and you literally haven't got any time to catch your breath. So, and, you know, we laugh about shotgunning the beer. I'm doing that for a reason. I'm doing that to, you know, because that's what, you know, I'm trying to obviously cover something or, you know, I'm thinking, you know, so it's, you're so busy and you've got no one putting their arm around your shoulder and saying, are you okay? It's literally get on the stage. Come on, get on, go. And
that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it really. It's so hard.
And how does it feel now that you're kind of back again, but in a very different world? You know, you weren't competing with social media. The internet was, you know, in its infancy, if that. You know, it's a whole different ballgame these days. Are you happy that you got to experience it without all those added extras?
100%. It's not just the social media, but, you know, there's that whole thing of a lived experience rather than just documenting an experience that you're not really living because you're trying to document it, if you know what I mean. And I am very conscious of that when I'm doing something that is really cool. I might document a bit of it and then I'm like, right, put your phone away and actually live it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guarantee as well, you've seen what we're like. You know, and we were probably worse in those days because we were young, you know, and more stupid. So I guarantee that we would have 100% got ourselves into massive trouble if Twitter and the like had been around in those days, because
massively
there were many times that we'd come off stage, you know, we'd get on, you know, vodkas or whatever, and you know, we'd get really drunk and I can hear the voice, I can hear the conversation. If it had imagined, like, you know,
you're so right,
take a picture of your testicles and put it out on Twitter, I dare you, and you go, okay.
I mean, literally,
before you know it, you're waking up and there's, you know, your testicles the front page of the Sun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one
like not realised.
He's 100% right. I mean, because I've done some questionable TikToks pissed recently. That I wake up in the but I'm 40, but I'm 42 years old now, so I've got a little bit of a filter. I'll go, no, don't put that on. And there's some that I've gone, probably should have had 5 less points before you posted that one. But
testicles, Scott, or not?
No, just me chatting.
Yeah, sorry, is it your testicles?
No, not my testicles. No, I'm just chatting shit on the internet.
Right.
But back in the day, I wouldn't have had that level of filter where I would have gone, don't post it. I would have gone, let's just post it. Wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Well, it would have mattered because it would have got in trouble. But yeah.
I need to ask, what was on your rider back in the day?
Do you know what? Not that much. I mean, literally, it was just.
Maybe I should rephrase that. Is it more of a what wasn't on your rider?
Do you know what?
Not
I
really.
think we've got more on the rider now.
What's on the rider now?
As far as alcohol goes.
Yeah, we've got two bottles of spiced rum on there, premium spiced rum. It's got to be a Kraken or a Bacardi spiced or something like that. We've got a bottle of champagne, a couple of bottles of wine, a couple of waters just to make it look good, and 3 bananas. That's about it.
Yeah, and and if we run out, it's okay because we can just ask, is there any chance we could get a vodka or something?
Yeah. I've always thought about this in my alter ego. If I was ever to have been a singer, what would be on my rider?
Come on, what would be on it?
Oh, it would have been a ridiculous. I probably would have asked for like tigers and leopards and all sorts. I don't know. No, I think there would have been a good selection of crisps.
Yeah. Oh, you got to have some crisps.
There would be tequila.
Ooh.
Yeah, crisps, tequila, vodka.
What's your favourite flavour crisps?
Well, we're going to get to that, funnily enough, in a minute, Sean. You'll see why. I can't disclose that until I get to my quickfire questions.
Right,
that's a very, very important. That's a very important question.
It's just a question.
Sorry, we're getting very political now. What else would be on my rider?
I'll get back in my box.
I don't know. I think also, as you guys can vouch for, like if you're about to go on stage, you're not really going to eat a massive meal, right? So you kind of just want like maybe a bit like something slow releasing. Yeah. A few little sweets or something.
Yeah, you just want a shotgun of Stella.
Basically. I'll probably shotgun a shot of tequila, but yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
Just to get, the blood going. Something that I love about you guys is it's very unusual to hear of boy bands writing most of their songs. And I'll be completely honest. I mean, at the age of 10, I probably didn't realize that. But as an adult, I really appreciate that. And, as I said, I do get to meet quite a lot of musicians. And for me, that is, I think, something I admire hugely is songwriting. What is the process like for you guys when you go to write a song or album? Silence.
In lockdown, in lockdown it was quite difficult because obviously at points we were all in different rooms, so we'd be doing bits and bobs here and there, and then when we got together it would be finishing that song off. But it can be a
lot of phone recordings, a lot of sending things on the phone.
But yeah, I mean, we're really proud of this album, and when we finally listened to before we pressed play and put it on the internet, we were like, do you know what, this is a really good album because it's got all of the sounds of the 90s, but it's also got sounds of now. So it's we kind of like to think that it's an album that people can definitely listen to it and go, yeah, that's definitely the Five sound, and we've got the rapping there, we've got the rock stuff as well, but we've also got some dance stuff, and we've got stuff that really sits in today's market really, really nicely.
And the album was written during lockdown. I did mention to you before we started recording, I don't think Ritchie was here yet, but I have listened to a few songs off the album, and I absolutely love Making Me Fool. That's sort of it's a little bit R&B, it's a little bit, I found it a bit sexy. And so what else do people sort of, what's to come? Like, what is the plan?
As I said, there's some really lovely songs on there. Go on, Rich.
No, just what's to come. I mean, this year, obviously, with everything that's gone on the past couple of years, we've not got out and performed anywhere near as much as we usually do. So I think this year, with everything looking sort of better in the landscape and stuff like that, it's going to be very much a year of getting out and reconnecting with the fans, reconnecting with the people, playing the hits, playing some of the new stuff. And, that's just very much what this year is going to be about.
Amazing. I was going to ask you, are you going to perform some of your old hits? I mean, you're going to have to.
Oh, of course. That is a staple.
Always.
Most of the vast majority of our show, we're lucky enough to have quite a few of them, so that when we play a show, it's thankfully, and I don't mean to blow our own trumpet, but it's banger after banger.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Most of our show is songs you'd know.
You're not going to come to a show where we're literally just going, here's the new album, because we appreciate that they definitely want to hear some of the new songs, but let's we need to play the hits. That's what they're there for.
Which seamlessly brings me on to asking you all individually if you could choose your favourite track from back in the day.
I'd have to say Keep On Moving. I love If You're Getting Down. It's a great song, but when we sing Keep On Moving, there's something that happens within that crowd. And especially now with what's gone on with COVID and stuff, it's a very positive message, isn't it? Get on up when you're down. And I think a lot of people in lockdown have been down, and they've had moments where they've gone, oh, do you know what? I just want this to sort of go away and life to come back. And even more so now when we sing it, I think people go, wow, these lyrics are really, really uplifting. So it has to be Keep On Moving for me.
Sean?
I like different ones for different reasons. Like even Slam Dunk the Funk is not my favourite song of ours at all, but I've just got really fond memories of when we first got together and we was listening to the backing track before we'd release a single or anything like that, and it just had a real edgy sort of bass line, and it was just we were visualising what was to come from us. I don't know, it was just it reminds me of a really fresh time when we really got together. And then Keep On Moving is definitely my favourite. I remember being in the studio after we'd finished it, and I didn't think it was all at me. I thought I remember saying to the producers, I don't think this is all that, and they said no. They could see there was this is a really, really special song. This is really special. And I was thinking, how do they know? No way. I think it's bang average. So years later to actually see that people are still singing it 20 years on.
It's still standing the test of time, hey?
Yeah, and it's humbling that when you write a song, all you can be is what you are in that moment. You never really know how people are going to react to it, and that's the beauty of it, I think. So it always reminds me of that.
Richie?
Well, it changes daily. It depends on my mood, really, I suppose. And Keep On Moving has to be up there because, like Scott said, it's the song that I get the most joy out of, because it's the most song that people come up and say, that song got me through a certain time. Really, and I listen to it and it makes me happy. It stops me being sad, makes me happy. So that's nice. But today I'm actually going to go with Everybody Get Up, because I really feel when we released that, I believe it was our third single, maybe our fourth. And I feel it really stamped our difference to the other bands of the time on the marketplace, and on kind of, it was these guys are different. They're a bit more like hoodlums. They're a bit more rebellious rather than sort of choir boy banders that only sing ballads and are virgins and don't drink and all this. But that's honestly what they were told to say. They all said that at the time. So for me, growing up liking dance music and grunge, that I suppose that's like a little win for me, that we sort of came in and disrupted the
bloody cool video as well,
place of it.
Wasn't it? Such a cool video.
Yes.
Do you know, in that video we had to do everything in slow motion and then everything in fast motion. So then when we're chucking the paint,
You're joking.
So we'd have to go Everybody get up, sing it. One.
What?
Like that. So then we'd have to also do it double speed. Everybody get up, sing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then they could have the slow motion and the fast. It was unbelievable.
The one that was slow actually was for the sped up footage, and the one that was really quick was for the slow mo.
Is that because the technology wasn't what it is now?
No idea. That's just the director said. In fact, I remember.
That's so
I
interesting.
think it was this. It is interesting. We were just had to accept it. Okay, this is what we got to do. It's like it feels really weird. I know it feels weird, but it's going to look good. Just carry on. But I do remember I think they're called second AD to the director or first AD, and he had this thing with a wire, and it was almost like a torch, but the sound came out at the end of it, and he kept. Because the five of us would be stood together, and he'd be like, walk up to us, and he'd be stood here. But then he'd go really loud on the town, like, okay, guys, let's get you in the thing. And in the end, because video shoots are really stressful. And we ended up telling him, mate, we are going to stick that thing where the sun don't shine. You keep making us jump with it. All you have to do is say, can you just go there? You don't need it.
You don't need it.
I'm concerned because I literally...
Yeah,
I would not.
Oh my God.
I would not want to get on the wrong side of you guys, honestly. Well,
I can't remember one thing from that.
Can you not?
Is that because you had someone with the beer just shotting it down your mouth?
No, I literally cannot remember. I can't remember any of it. Weird.
Was Sean even there?
He was.
He was.
I don't think I was.
It was before the cardboard cutout.
Right. Okay. Well, none of you have mentioned my favourite song.
Oh, what is it?
Which now makes me wonder if I'm choosing the wrong one. I don't know.
If you don't want to
nervous.
let you go, you're in the wrong game.
No, it's actually When the Lights Go Out.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
Listen, do you know what? Even to this day, that's because I'm really into my R&B and hip hop, and it's just it's a very I don't know. For me, I can listen to that all day.
It's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I'll give
that's
you that.
me.
Fair dues.
Yeah, I like it. So, just back to the food, and then we are going to finish with some quickfire questions. Do you? Well, I know about you, Scott, but the other two, do you guys cook?
Yes.
Sean?
A little bit.
What do you mean by little bit? What's your speciality?
I don't have a speciality. My speciality is pick up a book and follow the recipe, every single word, because if I don't, I'm definitely going to mess it up.
You're doing yourself down here because you're very, very good on your Weber barbecue. You're very good, so don't give it that.
Oh,
I like barbecuing. Yeah, I like barbecuing, but if I do something more adventurous, I still follow the book. I'm not creative with it.
What was the last thing you made from a cookbook?
Well, the barbecue, slow ribs.
Oh wow!
You know when you when you cook them for hours. I like that.
Okay.
And you brush the sauce on, like American.
Oh yeah, like a sort of barbecue, when they brush it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, well, you make your sauce, and then you do all the
Oh, nice. Ritchie, what's your speciality?
I do.
Ritchie's exceptional.
Enjoy a slow cooked shoulder of lamb.
Oh, okay.
And I stick a bit of garlic, anchovies that I sort of mess up in the pestle and mortar, rosemary, and slow cook that. That's something I enjoy doing with a red currant sort of gravy vibe. I do really enjoy doing that. I enjoy making things like Thai curries and stuff, but I have to admit, and I sort of feel a bit sort of disappointed in myself, but I'm a single parent and my daughter's only 7. So a lot of the time I'd cook things and I'd put it out and, it's soul destroying every time to just have their nose turned up at it, Every time you put it out, it's I don't like this, I don't like this. You're like, what's the point of standing there for 2 hours just for that, So I've, and then the rest of the time, if I'm on my own, you can't really be bothered to do it for yourself, So yeah, I don't cook as much as I used to, but it's still there. If I start playing, it's there. But I do enjoy when I do it. I do enjoy it.
Right. Quick fire question, boys. You ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll do this. What we'll do is we'll sort of go round in, we'll start with Scott. What is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
They made me try. They made me try shrimp, and I puked. Shrimp, disgusting.
I mean, mic drop. I don't even know what to say.
Quick fire, innit?
Right, there we go. Okay, Ritchie.
Fish head curry in Singapore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I ate the eyeballs and everything.
I was just about to ask you that.
Yeah. Has to be done. When in Rome.
Yeah.
I'd watched, it was years ago, I used to watch loads of those cookery programs, and I'd seen that it was a thing. So while I was in Singapore, I had a bit of time, I thought, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to a street hawker style place, and I'm going to eat fish head curry. And I did exactly that, and I yammed a lot.
Good for you.
And I felt like Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, well, you know what? That... and he's eating some wild stuff. Sean, what's the craziest food you've ever eaten?
Craziest food I've ever eaten. Ostrich in South Africa on a safari. Tried a little bit of ostrich.
Oh, wow.
But it's not that crazy. It's only crazy in your mind.
Nice.
It's very similar to beef. So it's not that crazy, I suppose.
No, that's pretty good. I don't think I've ever had that answer before.
Yeah.
Sounds it. I'm not sure Scott would eat it,
No.
you know.
If it tastes like beef, I would.
Yeah, I think you'd give it a go.
I would.
Oh, didn't we, when we went to Kazakhstan, I might be getting this wrong, but wasn't one of the delicacies horse's penis thinly sliced up?
Sounds
or
like...
is it a type of sausage that we were calling horse's penis?
It sounds like something
remember.
you might have done without us, Rich, if I'm honest.
No. You remember, it was thinly sliced things that kept coming out on this plate, and none of us were like, nah.
It still sounds like something I weren't there for, if I'm honest.
I'm going to move swiftly on to the next question. Scott, what has been your most memorable meal?
That's fucking salad cream sandwich.
Touche. Sean, what has been your most memorable meal?
When I came round Scott's house, and me, him, and his uncle all baked some bread. Remember?
Oh,
yeah, he's been
nice.
teaching me how to bake bread.
Yeah, it's good, wasn't it?
And then he made he made the fresh pizza with the fresh base and all that. And when it's when everything's fresh, you can't compare it, can you?
Mm. Ritchie, what's been your most memorable meal?
It's not actually going to be what you think. I really thought about that while the other guys were answering, and it's this. When I was 4, I had meningitis, and I was in hospital for a long time, like 6 weeks sort of thing. And I hadn't really been eating very much, and I was starting to get better. And I remember feeling properly hungry for the first time, which, as you know, I was the human dustbin. And my mum was there. I said, Mum, I'm hungry. And she was like, right. And she somehow managed to wangle getting me some brown toast with butter and strawberry jam. And it was like the first thing that I'd eaten properly for ages. And I just remember absolutely loving it.
Mm. A lot of people give me those answers, like when they've come out of like really bad illness, or like when a woman has just given birth, like the best food they can have is that piece of toast, like just afterwards. I totally get that. Okay, now Sean tried to bring this up earlier, but he was a little bit ahead of the game. My favourite snack of all time is a packet of crisps. So we're going to start with you, Sean. What is your favourite flavour of crisps and why?
Anything spicy. I love spicy. So chili.
Okay.
Max Walker, jalapeno, and cheese. That type of thing.
Ooh,
Thai
nice.
chili, chili, kettle
Richie?
chips.
Okay, there's these. They're not actually crisps. They're little pretzel pieces, and I can't remember the name of them. And they come in a jalapeno.
Oh
flavor.
yeah. Is it green and gold?
I could eat
so
packets of them, but also for the classics, I like steak flavour McCoys or squares, salt and vinegar.
Squares, old school. Ooh.
Yeah.
Scott?
I mean, I've got so many. Squares are incredible. They're a staple. Get them in. I'm going to have to say my go-to, because I don't eat crisps all the time, and then when I'm going to eat them again, my go-to is always pickled onion Monster Munch. And that's really weird.
Yes!
Yeah, that's really weird because I don't like pickled onions. But
Of course you don't.
But I absolutely, I mean, when I say I could eat a truckload of them, I love them so much. Pickled onion Monster Munch are incredible. And I'm assuming by your reaction that they're your number one. They are amazing.
Yeah, so back to Scott's initial question. They are my favourite crisps of all time. And same as you, I could literally eat a truckload.
Did you see a programme a couple of years ago, a programme where they were where you had two chefs trying to recreate a pickled onion Monster Munch?
Really?
I watched it on the telly, and it's really hard to get like the puffiness and the taste. But I'm going to try.
Well, let me know.
I will.
Richie, what food sums up happiness for you?
The first thing that came to mind is a really, really super fragrant kind of Thai, Malaysian, Indonesian curry kind of vibe.
Ooh, very nice. Sean, what food sums up happiness for you?
Anything spicy. Jerk chicken, Indian curry.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
Scott?
It honestly sounds like a really generic, boring answer, but it would have to be like a homemade roast with me, and the kids and Kerry just sitting around, proper Yorkshire puddings, not Aunt Bessie's, proper Yorkshire puddings, all done properly. Couple of beers, sitting at home with the people you love, eating a roast dinner. Can't beat it.
Couldn't agree more. And final question, Richie. Live to eat or eat to live?
My base thing is live to eat, but currently I'm just eating to live.
Okay. Scott, live to eat or eat to live?
Eat to live. I can go without food.
Okay.
And then, sometimes I'll get to the end of an evening and go, I love food, but I'll get to the end of the evening and Kerry goes, you didn't have any dinner. And I go, oh, all right, I'll have something. So, yeah, probably eat to live.
How about you, Sean?
I'm trying to, these days, eat to live, but throughout my life, I've realised that I have lived to eat because I'd eat quite often when I weren't even hungry. I might even just feel a little bit sad or a little bit bored. First thing I'm going to do is I just go to the fridge, start eating, and it's only like past few years I start thinking, well, hang on, are you even hungry? And it's
Sean
changed a
likes
bit.
his food.
I do like my food.
Yeah, story of my life. Oh, guys, this has been the biggest pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Honestly, some of your stories from back on the day are absolutely fantastic.
Problem. I'm sorry about the horse's penis.
Richie, you know what? You knew you wanted to bring it up at some point.
To ruin it.
I think maybe, Rich, a little bit of counselling, sort it out, maybe get the memory back for what it was, really.
Good luck with everything with the new album and what's to come this year. And I really hope that I can go and relive my childhood and come and see you guys live, because honestly, that would be just the biggest joy for me. You can follow the guys on social media at It's 5 Official. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you love what you hear, please subscribe and review. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Crazy Sexy Food and check out the Crazy Sexy Food YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.